all these things go down, and he also still fights here, even though he's not a current legislator. He still fights here for us every day, and his name is Jim Kellinger. Everybody give him a warm welcome.
Thank you, Dina. And Brenda, thanks for inviting me to be here today. I'm honored to speak to you. Brenda, so would you mind sharing a few words or saying a few words? So a few words. And I want to give a shout out to Joel. I remember we had a meeting at Joel's house about a year ago talking about this particular day, and I know he's worked very hard to pull all this together. So good job. Yeah. My name is Jim Kellinger, and I'm a former legislator. I'm also the president of the National Association of Former State Legislators. So I want to talk to you a little bit about our mission and how that dovetails or meshes into the mission of the Convention of States. But before I do, I just want to talk to you, just some commentary on those who oppose the Convention of States, Article 5, which gets me mad. I'm sure you as well. But I always ask them, I say, is there anything else in our Constitution that you oppose? And usually there's crickets when I ask that question. So it's interesting that they're in favor of Congress, the national government, proposing amendments to our Constitution, but not the states. And I just don't get it. And also they put out there what I think is a delusional claim that, there's a potential for a runaway convention. I'm sure you all have heard of that. And if they would just take the time to read Article 5 and understand that process of calling a convention of states, they would quickly understand that what they believe truly is delusional. So frankly, I'm not concerned about a runaway convention, but what I am concerned is with Americans who don't understand our Constitution and embrace the principles and values that are in it. So anyway, with that being said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the National Association of Former State Legislators, our focus, our mission, and again, how it meshes in with the Convention of States. So our focus as former state legislators is in three areas. It's state sovereignty, balanced federalism, and representative governance. So those are principles that the founders gave us and enshrined in our Constitution. So that's our focus. And our mission is to educate and engage currently elected state legislators to understand and embrace those principles. So let me touch on those. I'll kind of go through all three of them. And as I talk about them, you'll see where you all stand as part of the Convention of States. You'll see the similarity here. So I'll start with state sovereignty. We believe as former state legislators that if you get elected to represent a part of the state, you're a state legislator, whether in the House or the Senate, your number one priority ought to be to protect the sovereignty of your state. Because if you don't do that, all the policy stuff that they're debating in there today is very important. But if they're not protecting the sovereignty of their state, then a lot of those issues don't make any difference. We have a national government, and the founders knew this by nature. They're going to come crashing down on the sovereignty of states. And if the states don't stand up to it and just say no to those mandates, the money that comes from the national government, there's always strings attached. They just have to be, pay attention to that. And if you don't keep your eye on that ball, you're going to lose the game. So that's state sovereignty. We feel that's very important. Representative governance, that's another focus that we have as an organization. I know you all know here, but maybe not everybody in that building, that we're not a democracy and that we are a republic. Amen. And we don't create our laws by referendum or plebiscite. That's what dictators do. We create our laws for our elected representatives. But that's a lot of hard work. We have to get the right people elected. We have to walk the halls, meet with them, and express our concerns and what we want and what we see as bad or good. And that's a lot of hard work. And I know that's what you all are doing here this today. You're in the Capitol, you're talking to those folks, and that's so important. So that's representative governance. So let me get to balanced federalism. So if I were to ask, if you were to ask anybody, what's federal government? And automatically they're going to think Washington, the national government. That's not the federal government, that's the national government. If you read the Constitution, the founders gave us a federal government. Federal means it includes the national government and the state government. It's a consensual agreement outlined in the Constitution that the national government has with the state governments and vice versa. So Article 1, Section 8, I'm going to read through, and now these are the very few enumerated powers granted to the national government. Okay, so again, this balance, what's in the purview of the national government and what's under the purview of the state government. So Article 1, Section 8, I'm going to read through the list here. And as I'm going through the list,